You're watching the USA Network.
Wherever there is a wrong to be righted, he is there. Wherever a lone child searches for a friend, he is there. And wherever humanity gropes for that universal meaning of life, he is there. He is everywhere, for he is Commander USA. From the depths of suburbia far below a teeming shopping mall, just inches away from mankind, Commander USA enters his video vault to bring you action, adventure, and zany non-stop thrills. Join us now as we proudly present Commander USA's Groovy Movies. Today's groovy movie, Friday the 13th, Part 3. And now, Commander USA!
Oh, hey, there you are. Commander USA here, soaring superhero. Legion of Decency, retired. Boy, am I feeling groovy today. Yeah, I hope you are too. Oh, because it's going to be...
Hello, everybody. Jason of New Age Revolution in the Cave for another 30 most memorable television moments. That's right. This is number 9 of 30 as we recap all of the historical memory-producing moments of my, I don't know, maybe 40-year, 35-year love affair with television. We've been talking a lot lately about TV shows on DVD and movies on DVD. You saw me get a huge, VHS collection the other day. It's October, so we're sticking around we're trying to keep things a little spooky. And last night, I re-entered I guess we're just going to generalize and call it the cable TV market. I did. And that immediately pushed this conversation right to the front of the line. I was going to save this conversation for a little later in October, but last night's experience pushed it right now. And what does all that mean? Well, I'm going to explain it to you. The kids and I had always watched AEW wrestling, right? We got into it. It was a weekly must-see thing. And it ignited their love for the figures, and it made Christmas shopping easy. And then we stopped. And I was paying for YouTube TV. And we had probably 7 back episodes of AEW on YouTube TV DVR. And the kids just showed no interest in it. And they, their figures just sit dusty in a box, and nobody cares. And that was bothersome because that was something that we all did together. And... So, we started talking about it again, and they showed a little bit of interest. And so I jumped on that. And last night, ordered Sling TV because you had TBS and TNT. It's $20 for my first month and then $40 after that. That's not awful. Because we wanted to watch last night's AEW, which was a special title Tuesday. And Edge was having his first in-ring appearance. Edge from WWE joined AEW. And so, I got it again. But that's not the point. As I was flipping through the guide, I got excited again because I felt like, oh, look, I've got TV. And then I realized that there was nothing on. And all I was excited about was watching gourmet cooking show on QVC. That's what I got excited about. That's also not the point. As I was scrolling through the guide, I saw tons of horror movies on television because it's October. And so your AMC channel, which I haven't seen in a couple of years, AMC had Evil Dead or one of the Dead movies, one of the remakes of the Dead movie, like Day of the Dead or Dawn of the Dead remake or whatever. And then it had The Mist, and then it had Pet Sematary, and then I scrolled down a little bit more, and a couple other channels had Halloween movie, Halloween 2, and a Halloween marathon, and it brought back a fun feeling. In fact, it brought back my 9th most memorable television moment, and that is horror movies on TV, on pay TV channels, non-HBO, so USA, AMC, TNT, TB, whatever, horror movies on TV. And you say, well, who cares about horror movies on TV? That's not, who cares? It ignites some memories for me. It ignites memories. And first of all, I think, again, this is before we all had whatever movie we wanted at our disposal, at our fingertips, right? If I want to watch a scary movie in January now, I can watch whatever I want. But look, we're talking about 40 years ago here, right? And with such a small cable lineup, you didn't get a horror movie in January. HBO might have played a random horror movie here and there, but there was the theme of television in January wasn't horror, right? So, and you didn't have a massive, VHS collection. Maybe you had to go rent it, but you weren't in the mood, whatever. But in October, in the early, mid, late 80s, and of course even into the 90s, and of course even into last night, cable networks would highlight horror movies. There was always, horror-themed months in October on certain channels. And I loved it. Even though a horror movie, back then when television had standards and when people had morals, the horror movies were watered down, right? You got edited scenes of death. You got edited language. You got, hey, mother. You got that instead of whatever. You've got it watered down. You got commercials, but it was still special. And the most special memories I have of horror movies on TV would be at my grandparents' house. And either it was when I was living there, or it was a Sunday when I was there for dinner or whatever, because I was always at my grandparents'. And it feels like on Sundays on USA was the time for like the horror movie marathons. I assume just in October, but I specifically remember watching Friday the 13th marathons in my grandparents' family room, laying on the floor with a pillow and watching them, and just loving it. Not because I was just this huge horror fan back then. I was a kid, but it just felt cool, like I was watching this scary movie in the daytime with the sun shining in the windows with my grandparents sitting there. And it was great. I remember, my grandmother would sit in a recliner and drink Pepsi, and my grandfather would sit in the corner of the couch with his legs crossed, like just sitting there with his hands on his knees, like, how comfortable is that? But even people sat different to watch TV back then. And flipping through the dial last night, seeing the horror movies on TV was a refreshing, a refreshing trip back in time. It's nice to see that. And I wonder if people watch. Yes, you can go on Netflix and watch any movie you want, uninterrupted, unedited. But I still think that in October, there's something special about laying on the couch and tuning into, Dawn of the Dead on TNT, edited with commercials. I think it's just one of those things that ignites childhood memories. And I've got some of them. I've got 2 Friday the 13th movies taped from TV. One is Friday the 13th Part 2 from Commander USA, the USA Network superhero character with the red suit and the mustache, and that's Commander USA. And that was also the good part about some horror movies on TV, was the commercial, the intros or the bumpers after the commercial was like some studio stuff. You had Commander USA doing his thing, and kind of like the Joe Bob Briggs or whatever, vintage drive-in kind of deal, the horror thing. In between commercial breaks, you'd get some live action comedy, whatever, especially, Commander USA. The other one I have is a USA Up All Night with Friday the 13th Part 8. And I think this was Rhonda Shear, I think. But again, there's something very special, very nostalgic, and very innocent about, the hosts being cheesy, campy, spooky kind of thing. Like who would care about that now? We'd roll our eyes at that now. Elvira's, even going back further, Elvira introducing movies and doing the in-between commercial stuff. Commander USA, Rhonda Shear Up All Night. And then that goes back even to the, 60s. It was, Svengoolie and guys like that, where, they could just be silly and it would still make an impact, and especially make an impact on kids, who would, the creature feature, this is going to be great. The Saturday night at midnight scary movie of the night, hosted by your, whoever character. Dr. Evil, Dr. Kill is going to introduce tonight's horror movie. I love that. And I think MeTV still plays Svengoolie stuff. And obviously, again, the Joe Bob Briggs, bringing back that campy, silly, dated stuff that people loved. People would get the Shudder channel just for the Joe Bob Briggs stuff. But anyway, again, stuff of the past, things that we wouldn't accept today, things that we wouldn't be entertained by today, things that we would just say, this is dumb. We didn't say that. Not just because we were kids. It wasn't just because we were kids. I don't think just kids watched Captain Commander on USA introduce horror movies. I don't think it was just kids. I can guarantee you that the minority was kids. It was adults sitting around the TV enjoying a good old-fashioned Sunday afternoon horror movie. So there we have it. Horror movies on TV. Commercial breaks, edited. Funny edits like, mother, you no good, mother. Love it. And sometimes I'm in the mood to watch a movie like that. Like I could watch Friday the 13th Part 8 anytime on any kind of device, on any kind of 4K, on any kind of DVD, whatever. But when I watch this, I'm going to watch it on USA Up All Night. Why? Because I just want the feeling of it. It's a good feeling. So, number 9, most memorable TV moments, horror movies on TV. That is all. Good night now.